because you see the smoke. So by seeing the smoke and the train of thought, if there is smoke, there must be fire. You come to the conclusion. You don't see the fire, but the conclusion is there must be fire over there. Okay? So that's a slightly hidden phenomena. We can understand it through inference. And then there's the very hidden phenomena, and only a fully awakened mind can understand this. And that's the category of karma and rebirth and stuff like that. Okay? So don't ask me all these very specific questions. If I do this, what will happen? I have no clue, because I don't know what your motivation was. And this. Again, with the karma, you're the only one who can find out whether it was totally positive or totally negative or slightly flawed or very flawed or whatever. You're the only one. Or a Buddha, and I'm not a Buddha, unfortunately. So there's no point asking me all these questions. Also, if you look at your life now, it's also not much point. The point is not to go back there and dig it up and what we did and all that. The point is that we look now, what am I going to do to create my future? Because past is past. It's like, we can purify, but that's about all we can do. Okay, so we go through the theory of karma, how karma functions, so then you should be able to actually put it together yourself and figure out yourself whether your action is positive or negative. And also try not to go to very kind of far-fetched hypotheses. Like somebody asked me at one point, if you're sitting on an aeroplane and you have a gun with you and there's a terrorist, would you shoot the terrorist? So I said, look, the chance that I'll be on an aeroplane with a gun is like 0. So there's no need I need to think like this. Also the chance that I carry a gun with me is 0. So don't ask me, what would you do? Or the other, like the last course, somebody asked me, what would you do if you were in a completely new relationship? I say, no chance. Okay? So that's what I mean. Take daily life, things that can really happen, not these far-fetched. Another question was, if you see somebody robbing a jewelry store and you know that their mother is sick, would you let the person, and they need the money for the operation, would you let the thieves run away or would you catch them? Yes, how would I know that? It's like, I've never been anywhere where there was something like this. And also, it's not about what I do to others, it's about what I do. It's like karma is to be used as a mirror, not to what others do. Trying to figure out, I wonder what their karma is. But this is a little bit our obsession also, that we have worrying about other people's karma, about other people's actions. You should worry about your own actions. This is what the teaching is for. Here we're still with the self-concern. Yeah, we're concerned about our own happiness. So we think about my actions. Okay, so then we look here, page 6, under the title, it says destructive karma results in suffering, constructive karma results in happiness. You can use other words, virtuous, non-virtuous. Good and bad I don't like so much, but you can use virtuous, non-virtuous, skillful, non-skillful. This is the one I prefer actually. Skillful, non-skillful. Skillful so that we're happy, and also others are happy. Unskillful is when others are unhappy and we get unhappy in the future. Constructive, destructive also is quite okay. Any other words? Huh? Beneficial, non-beneficial. So they're still trying to kind of find everybody, of course, my translation is the best, so this is why we have so many. So then the 4 characteristics of karma. Karma is definite. So if the action was destructive, but with all the factors present, be careful there, it will result in suffering. If it was constructive, it will result in happiness. Same way. If you want apples, you need to plant an apple seed. You cannot plant a mango seed and then you want apples and then you're disappointed when it's mangoes. And you can stand in front of that tree that slowly grows and make prayers and prostrations and a lot of devotion and a lot of faith that, it will be apples, no, it will be mangoes. Seeds of a bitter plant will bring bitter fruits. Seed of a sweet plant will bring sweet fruit. unless you fiddle around with it. You can. Yeah, with trees you can put another branch on it. So this also with our karmic actions, this is why this kind of not just one thing, you can do something about this. Yeah. Okay, but if you don't do anything about it, if you let the seed grow, it will bring apples. If it has the conditions to grow, it also needs conditions to grow. So what you have not created, you cannot experience. Therefore, we can let go of hope and fear. Yeah. Hope is not giving you the good things that you hope for if you don't have the causes, if you haven't created the causes. Fear is not preventing you from what you don't want. If you have not created the causes, you don't have to be afraid. And if you have created the causes, the fear will not protect you from not experiencing it. It's as simple as that. Okay, but it doesn't mean you become hopeless. Again, sometimes people kind of jump to the no, okay, no hope, and I don't do anything. Yeah, not like that. Because hope and fear, hope creates attachment, that the result will be very important, and fear very often creates aversion or aggression. So that's why they're not so good. And since nothing exists from its own side, if you have a lot of hope and fears, you will never understand emptiness. So that also. Yeah, so this also goes into very high teachings there, learning to let go of hope and fear. But only once you have understood reality, like the two levels of reality, conventional reality and ultimate reality. Because otherwise, too quickly you jump into ultimate reality, and then you say, nothing exists, so I don't need to care. He doesn't exist, I can kill him. Because he doesn't exist. I don't exist, so I go ahead and kill him. Yeah. So somebody, I think I can't remember, one teacher at Tushita, because somebody said, okay, well, if nothing exists, then also there is no suffering. And then he said, okay, you go and lie on the road, and I drive over you with the jeep. And then we'll see, we'll check whether there is suffering or not. So, as long as we haven't realized emptiness, there is suffering. Dependently arisen suffering. This is why we can get rid of it. Karma increases. So that's difficult to understand. Maybe we can take nature again, or not even, it doesn't have to be nature. I mean, in a way, if there's this movie where somebody, in the morning, somebody with their cup of coffee, Starbucks coffee, the takeaway thing, goes, it kind of bumps into somebody, and the shirt is, that one gets into a very bad mood, is very powerful, goes to his job, makes very wrong decisions. Out of this one small thing, a big thing can come in a negative way, but also in a positive way. It always goes both ways. It actually goes three ways. Karma goes three ways. It can be positive, negative, or neutral. Yeah, like no effect. No motivation, no effect, no nothing. But we don't really create neutral karma. It's only in the formless realm or somewhere there, where they have no more discrimination. Like even the discrimination there is gone. There's realms where there's no more discrimination. You asked about discrimination yesterday. Yeah? So if you would like to have a mind without discrimination, then you can go on 27th of the 33 heavens or something. That was just a guess, okay? Don't take that seriously. There are 33 heavens. And the heaven below, they still have a little bit of discrimination, so there they don't have form anymore, okay? But you can somehow, you hear the sound of, because they still know how wonderful this heaven is. The others there then, higher up, they're so equanimous, there is no more discrimination. So peaceful, there's no more like pleasant, unpleasant. I read this in a Theravadic text actually about the description of these form and formless realms. So karma increases, so that means you have to take care of the smallest actions, be it a positive or a negative. Because it can bring a big result as long as it's, it increases. These karmic imprints, they're dynamic. They are not, like, boom, I do an action and boom, there's the imprint and it will bring that result. Yeah? They're dynamic. They transform. we can purify them, or we can strengthen them by doing the same thing again and again and again and again, again being positive or negative. And karma also is not like mathematics. I do this, this happens. Or, I make you suffer, then I suffer. Not necessarily. It's like, it depends how I view the thing. When something negative falls upon me, I can practice patience. So it's a good thing, actually. I can practice patience, I purify my negative karma. I can become more courageous to be able to bear the suffering. And it makes me stop doing negative actions. So it's kind of, sometimes it's presented in a very simple way. It's not that simple. With like mathematics, 1 and 1 is 2. I give money to Gidi, at one point the money will come back. It will come back at one point. And since it increases, much more will come back. So please, if ever I lend money to you, don't give it back to me. It will come back at one point. But then again, your karma, not so good. So karma increases. Karma is never lost unless you do something with it. Like you can purify negative imprints, how we will talk about this evening, or you can destroy positive imprints by regretting, for example. I've been very kind to Gidi, and he was depressed, and so it's just an example. He was depressed, and I said, okay, let's spend the evening together, and we had a very nice evening, and this and that, and I expect kind of something back, because I gave my time to this guy. So I expect something back, nothing comes back, and then I get angry and I start regretting. Like I asked him next day, could you do this work for me or something? And he says, no, why should I? And I get angry. So this is how we destroy our positive imprints, through anger, especially when we regret having done something positive like that.
It cannot be more unrealistic example.
Huh?
It cannot be more unrealistic.
This is why I took Gidi.
That you asked him to do something and he said no.
He said, this is why I took Gidi, because then I know that people are not questioning that, is he really like this? So as Leora says, it's not like him. This is why I took him. So you don't have to wonder whether something happened or not. As Leora says, totally impossible. Okay, so those are the characteristics of karma. Is that clear? Yeah. It's not difficult to understand.
I have a question.
Okay, you know what? Write it down.
Sure.
Do like everybody else. Then we write it down, and then I have a look at it. Because I need to finish also here. So, for the action to be complete, you need an intention. And actually what I also didn't put in, the intention is kind of divided into 3 also. You need a recognition, you need a motivation, like a motive, why you're doing this, and you need the delusion that goes with it. What's your name?
That's complicated, maybe Shachar.
Shachar, it's not so complicated.
Sometimes the Chet and Reish.
Okay, so I decide to kill Shachar, because Shachaf or Shachar?
Shachar.
Shachar. So I decide to kill him. I really know that I want to kill him. That is like the recognition. This one I want to kill. The motive is to kill. Yeah, the delusion can be because I fell in love with him. It's also just an example, okay? Because I fell in love with him, but then he doesn't get in a relationship with Irit. And I get really angry. So that therefore I kill him. Or ignorance, and I think it doesn't matter, one human less on this world or whatever. So the motive or the delusion can be attachment, anger, or aversion. Like for example, killing an animal, that would be attachment to meat, wanting to eat the meat, or to the skin, using the skin. Okay, for example, that is good for killing. That's a good example for attachment. Ignorance for killing would be making sacrifices to worldly goals, kind of killing animals and then sacrificing them, thinking that should please the goals if one kills an animal.
So this is in the delusion part?
Yeah. The delusion can be three kinds, like ignorance, attachment, or anger. The motive is like, if it's to kill, it's to kill. If it's steal, to take. If it's to sexual misconduct, to have the pleasure of sexual conduct, and so forth. The recognition is the object. So if by coincidence, I'm not very good at shooting, then, the shot goes into the wall and zoom, and it goes over there. It's still the action of killing, but it's not complete. It's not complete because the recognition is not. It's not that it nullifies it, but it's not complete because the recognition was not correct. I wanted him, but then it got there. So do you see how complicated this is? Also the complete, because it's a negative action of the body, killing, so it's not complete. It doesn't create a complete imprint when I die before him. So somebody sees it there, and since everybody soon will have a weapon with them, and they see me shoot, and he goes there, somebody from behind shoots me. I die before her or before him, then the action is not completed on this body, because that body finished when I die before. Complicated. It's very complicated. Yeah.
So who gets that?
Yeah, we come to what a complete action is. Okay? So in order for the action to be complete, so that's where we are, actually, is you need that threefold intention kind of thing. You need the action. You need to do an action. You need to have an object. If it's killing, it needs to be a living being. If I kill my watch, it's not correct, or the battery again ran out, and I take a hammer and go, pow! So it's not alive anymore, but it's not considered an action of killing because it's not a sentient object. And the completion is when the person dies before me. With stealing, when I go and say, now this thing is mine. With sexual contact is when the two organs meet. You know which organs, I suppose, yeah? Not the nose and the ear, but the vagina and the penis. Then for, lying is when the other person believes, or when it's spoken, and so on. That's the completion of the action. So then it makes a complete action, and that action makes a very, very strong imprint that has the ability to create your future rebirth. It's called ripening karma. Okay? Most of our actions are not so complete. So what it ripens us, they ripen as complete. They're called completing karma results. So for example, all of us are human. That has to come from a complete, positive, ethical action to have a human form. But then what happens in your life can be, many, many other imprints ripening. Sometimes happy, sometimes sad, sometimes you're very lucky. Well, we say lucky, but we also kind of say that there is some kind of something that influences what happens to us. We just don't know that it's our own karma. So if things go the way you want them to go, other times they don't go the way you want them to go, that is what is called completing karma. Like, for example, to be reborn as a dog is considered negative karma. Yeah? But then that you are born as the dog of the Dalai Lama, that would be residues from kind of positive karmas or actions that were not totally complete with these four factors present. Does it make sense? Is it clear? Yeah. So when an action is complete, it is called throwing karma, meaning it determines your next rebirth. The completing karma kind of determines the conditions in your life. So completing karma is either residues, something that still remains from the very complete actions, residues, something left over, or actions that were not complete. Either the intention was missing, or there was no object, or the completion was missing, or tool was missing, or whatever. Yeah. So it is not just the action, and the factor that is the most important is intention. the first one. Now, our ego is so clever that it cooks up positive intention where it is absolutely not positive. And I tell you, that's what they say, your subtle mind or your clear consciousness knows when it's not positive, and it still creates a negative imprint. You cannot cheat karma because there's nobody to cheat, you know. And you know. And so maybe we go into the heaviness of karma. Also, we can look at it briefly. The object. If I kill somebody who is just about to find a cure for AIDS, because I'm also a scientist and I'm working on it, can you imagine the money that is involved there if you find a total cure for AIDS or cancer, you know, one injection, cancer finished? Wow, the fame, the money. So this guy found it, and I know he found it, nobody else knows it. And I'm working on it, but I go and kill him. So I find it. So that's a huge object. If I kill a mosquito, it's a smaller object, not just in size, but in importance. But it's also sizes. They say like killing smaller animal is less heavy because smaller animals have they die much quicker than bigger animals. Yeah, bigger animals suffer more when you kill them than smaller. Yeah, you have all these. There's a lot of details there that are being said.
Can you talk about other action than killing, because that's less...
Yeah, we're coming to that.
Less...
It applies to all the actions.
Yeah, but maybe the examples, because we're not... Most of us, we're not... None of us is going to kill anybody.
Really? You never killed a mosquito?
No, I mean, not a mosquito.
Or a joke.
Or a rat, or a mouse, or some other bugs?
Yeah, I killed a mosquito.
Yeah. It's also killing. They're also sentient beings.
Yeah.
So see, this one, what is that? That would be ignorance. Thinking, oh, they're not worthwhile living, so okay, go back. Also creates karma. Because also that mosquito doesn't want to die. This is why it tries to escape. Yeah? So this is why I'm taking killing. It's the biggest one, because that's what beings suffer most, because all the beings are what they are attached to most is their life. Okay? So, yeah. So the object, a mosquito. The subject, me, holding vows, here with the heaviness of karma. The object being a mosquito. Me, the subject, a nun who is holding vows of not killing, makes it very heavy. Yeah, the mosquito not so heavy, but I have vows. Then the motivation is, I don't want this thing in my room, because it's going to take maybe 2 drops of my blood. How dare they? Then, with my human intelligence, there's this attachment to myself, this aversion towards the mosquito, there's the ignorance of thinking it doesn't matter. I use my human intelligence, I plan it, I'm not just going blindly like this, I plan it, and I go, zap! You know, this would be enough. But if I would do it, I would go, because I killed many mosquitoes in my life, this made me stop killing them. And I have neither more nor less mosquito bites, by the way. So then I go, you know, I wait until they're full. When they already bit me, I waited until they were full so that they can't take off quickly. This is in the South Pacific because there's so many of them. It's not funny. There's so many of them. Yeah? And then I didn't know about all these things. And I was very happy when it was dead, when I got it. Yeah? That is a complete action of killing. Yes, a small object, but an object. So, stealing, I think I already gave the example. I see this plant. I know it's not mine. Nobody has given it to me. I like it very much. I start to plant. So subject again is me, a nun, having vows not to take what is not given. But I like it, it's attachment. Also, I don't like this group. Anyway, they have so many flowers. It's kind of, you know, aversion. And then I plan it to take it. I take it home with me, I put it in my garden, I look at it and go, now it's mine. Then the action is complete. So you can figure it out for each one of them, I think. Yeah?
This is not a heavy object.
Huh?
It's not a heavy object.
I don't know. You know, it might be a medicinal plant that somebody has decided, or it was determined somebody that they make tea out of it. Then it becomes a heavy object. Yeah? Again, it's like, what is a heavy object? Don't know.
You can steal the computer or the papers of the scientist who is about to invent the medicine for AIDS or cancer.
Yeah.
So that's a heavy.
That is
The
also
same
heavy.
example that you gave of
Yeah,
killing. We can
exactly.
just
You can
steal the
steal
word.
these things and come out with it as if it's yours or whatever. Yeah? Which happens sometimes. People kind of take out, they work together on a thing and then they print it as if it's their own. Okay, so this determines the kind of the result, whether the result will be very heavy or not so heavy. Yeah? Okay, so then, we go on another 15 minutes, okay? I guess today, I think it's okay. So then we go to the 10 non-virtuous actions, because those are the ones we have to take care of. So tree of body, killing, stealing, sexual misconduct. So sexual misconduct goes into forcing somebody, cheating on your partner, or knowing that the one you're going to have sexual contact with now already has a partner. That is the heaviest things in sexual misconduct. Okay? For of speech, lying, slander, harsh words, or meaningless talk or gossip. Clear?
Slander?
Slander means, in Hebrew, spreading rumors about somebody that you dislike, or kind of somebody is part of a group, you don't like the person, you start to kind of say, oh, but you know, he's not so good and you shouldn't accept him in the group and all this, kind of creating disharmony in a way. Also. Rumors about somebody, even if they're true, like you do it, but you do it with a negative intention, and then the group kind of expels the person. Sometimes it's called divisive talk, to create division, and harsh words is, you know, even if it's true, Leora, she's strong enough, I tell you, gosh, she's such an idiot. You know, she's so stupid, because also no way that this one is stupid, so that's why I can use her as an example. So,
Harsh word has to be like this, or just like maybe the tone, or I mean.
especially the tone, but also idiot is not something
if
that
it's
you
about
would
the-
take as a compliment, is it?
Again?
Idiot, the word idiot,
Yeah.
even if it's said in a very nice way, it is not taken as a compliment in general. It can be culturally different, so also culture comes in there, you know. In Switzerland, if you answer the phone and you say, "Hello," the person at the other end would think, "Wow, what's wrong? Here it's normal." This is what happened to me at the beginning. Every time I called somebody, I thought, "Oh, maybe I upset them. Maybe it's not right."
And about the situation or the weather, for example, it's working the same? Like being with harsh words about the weather? Or
How
about
can you
situation.
have harsh words to me about the weather? How would you do
No,
that?
not to you.
It has to whom? To what?
Okay, yeah, you're right. To my surroundings.
I mean, somebody has to hear it who understands these words. If I tell the wall that you stupid wall, again, the object is missing. So this is what, before you ask questions, this is what I would like you to do. Take that list and try to figure it out. This is why I'm giving you that list. You know, I'm not here to answer your questions, what about if? You have this list to use your intelligence, and you can do that in the discussion groups. Bring these examples. What about if? And then look at the list, and then you try to figure it out. So the tree of mind, so there's 10 negative actions. Tree of mind is envy, or sometimes called covetousness, harmful thoughts, and wrong views. Now I got the list, but I forgot it in my room. In the Lamrim Chemo, it says actually what makes one of these 3 actions complete. I'll bring it in the afternoon. Yeah. So not every, just one thought is kind of, is angry. It needs to be, has a lot more factors there for these three. Because otherwise, yeah, there would not be much hope for